All right. Night two, Democratic debate. I didn't see night one. I'm trying to be as politically as correct as possible. Don't want to offend anyone in this video. Just want to give a little quick reaction and from what I discovered and the potential candidates that stood out to me. Now, Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont. We had Joe Biden there. We had John Hickenlooper. He was the former Colorado governor. Senator Kristen Gillibrand. I was very proud of her, the way she stood for her statements and ideas. We can get into that in a minute. Senator of New York. We had Pete Buttigieg. And we had this one author here. Give me 1 second. I think it was Miss Williamson. Yeah, Marina Williamson and Andrew Yang. They talked about immigration. They talked about healthcare, one of those very serious issues. They talked about, what can they do to, reform policy, the Roe v. Wade, if that was abolished, and little different things like that. And for the most part, I really was interested with Andrew Williamson, and I'm sorry, not Andrew Williamson, Marina Williamson. And Marina Williamson is the author, and she was really talking about, as far as the healthcare, the climate changes and environmental hazards that's causing people to get sick. She was saying we do talk about these things, we have these different discussions each and every single day, but until someone gets sick, but we're really not talking about and attacking the root of the problem. And I was just like, man, that's really, caught me off guard for, a potential politician saying these type of things, because, really, they're really not going to go into the deep core of things of the travel, or what really happens to people once they, when they get sick, or what causes them to have not affordable health care. And Bernie Sanders, he really want affordable health care and all these things. He want the universal health care, free college, and he implements to tax the middle class. But the good incentive is that they will pay less taxes for health care. So it's a little into between balance with that, with Democratic Socialists. I was kind of thrown off a little bit on that. We had Joe Biden, former Vice President Joe Biden. He really want to reform and continue with the Obamacare. Now, me working in the hospital, before I joined the military, it did potentially help out a lot of people with the Obamacare. I'm not going to lie, we used to have people who had a sign-up sheet. We had different healthcare representatives to get people to sign up for these Obamacare, because it is very expensive, especially if you don't have a six-figure job and you got other bills and necessities to help, pay for your needs, man. And you got to work 2 or 3 jobs just to obtain, a household, especially if you have a family, and you need your health care because, God forbid, you get into a car accident, or some freak injury happens to you, man, through athletic sports or anything, and you don't have affordable health care. It's hard for you to get to the best doctors or the treatment that you need. Or you may get a great treatment, but for the most part you will be in debt due to medical bills, and that can offset you for the most part, destroying your credit, for you obtaining wealth and into real estate. It's just it's a big headache, man, along with the student loan debt. And now the student loan debt crisis, yes, about 45 million Americans are in student loan debt. And I like how, one of the senators, I think it was, I don't know if it was Hickenlooper, a former Colorado governor, who stated that. But, it's a really a sad situation, man, because at the end of the day, you get out of college, and you're still in all this debt, and then you're making $30,000 a year. And, that's really not a great way to start your life, especially if you dedicate yourself to a particular craft. Now, Kamala Harris, I can't forget her. Kamala Harris, she kind of has similar views as well. I kind of wrote some of these things down here. I can really go everything verbatim, so just bear with me. But I think Kamala Harris, what should he say? She was really informative about, was talking to me about the immigration, that yes, they should not be punished if their only offense was not, they didn't have no type of citizenship. That was the only offense. They should not be deployed back to their country. Now, I do agree with that, because, you do got really hardworking people from different countries here that really are helping the economy moving. And these are one of the things that people opposed of our President Trump, when, people was just getting taken from their homeland, when they was found out, they were dreamers or anything, they were legal immigrants, and they established some type of, just foundation in this country. But because they were not born here and they didn't have their little documents, they had to be deported back, and children was taken away from their homes. So they was in a heated discussion with that. And it's pretty much the same things they were really talking about a couple years ago, and when Hillary Clinton was trying to run. But at the end of the day, man, it was it was a decent debate. Andrew Yang, he kind of stood out to me as well because he talked about the automated industry, getting into technology as well, because he's a tech executive. And, as a tech executive, I was really interested in his ideas. I just really wish they would have gave him more, just more time to talk, man, in a way, because I really want to know where his mind state is. So I'm gonna pretty much go on Google and look up, Andrew Yang as a potential candidate for the Democrats. And I don't know who I'm gonna vote for at this moment, but I still gotta do my research because I know the election will be coming up. So I'm gonna look on to the Republican side as well. But these are the type of issues. They want minimum wage to be $15 an hour or more. Kamala Harris really was proposing that. Kamala Harris was really agreeing that women should have the ability to take control of their body, far as making a conscious decision whether or not they want to have a baby or not. They should not go against the Roe v. Wade. And which is understandable as well, because it's a really sensitive topic, because yes, as some Christians we believe that life is a life, you should not take it away from it. But if a woman is just forced out of her need and she's not mentally or financially in a good stable position to take care of a child, and she'll happen to have one, she should have the right to abort the child. Democrats are really supportive in that way, in that sector. But Kamala Harris, she has a good influence. A lot of people was really clapping for her for every statement that she made. It's gonna be really interesting how she going all over the country and really gonna compete with Joe Biden and other individuals like Andrew Yang. But Andrew Yang, man, I'm not saying he's not like sticking out a sore thumb, but as a tech executive, as a businessman, you kind of know where this economy is going. You know that automated jobs is going to be, he stated that it's going to be taking over like truck driving. I actually made a video about that. Truck driving is going to take over, the food industry. It's going to be a robot. So if we can train our kids into developing apps or get into the computers, then maybe, give them to affordable colleges to actually, so they can have a career in that, then they can be able to compete. Then that's a win for us. That's a win. And the thing is, I think in the economy is that if we have all free healthcare and free all of this, and then you tax the rich, the rich is going to move their businesses overseas. And so I think that's why he kind of just, Bernie Sanders had these good ideas, but he was like, okay, well, in order for me to have this type of funding, I'm gonna go ahead and just tax the middle class. And I don't know if the middle class is gonna really roll with that, because at the end of the day, that's like, hey man, why we gotta be taxed? We paying our house taxes, mortgage taxes. So I mean, you have great revolutionary ideas because you want to go against the drug companies, the insurance companies, Goldman Sachs, and these industries that's making us $69 billion profit off of drugs, right? And he said he wants to lower the drug prices for prescription drugs. And yes, you can go into detail because they make these prescription drugs out in these countries for like 2 cents, and they oversell us in America, and it's only give us like 30% of our nutrients, and it's just like a temporary treatment. But Andrew Yang, he said he want to give $1,000 to at least 18 years, those that are enrolled for 18 years and older every month. And that's approximately like $3.2 trillion a year. And like, how is that feasible for our economy? Like, due to Federal Reserve, like how's that money's going to be coming? So I mean, at the end of the day, I understand we got to take these issues, as far as like immigration policy, we got to take the issues up. They talked about the black community, between the peace and the law enforcement with the communities leaders, and how they can really, like, you talk about the Eric Holder situation, how he was killed, and Brandon Weber from Memphis. I mean, even though he did rob some people, he was killed by the U.S. Marshals. But I mean, what is the really down effect of people really just going through these crimes in urban communities? Is it through unemployment? And Kamala Harris, she started off with an example. I'm just paraphrasing and summarizing, but she started with an example that she knew some people that she ran to that worked 2 or 3 jobs. That's why things are unemployed. That's why the unemployment rate is so high. I'm like, well, there shouldn't be no reason, because the reason why people working 2 or 3 jobs is because the cost of living is going up. And then on top of that too, is that if the cost of living is going up, it's extremely really high. People don't want to lose their homes, and then they got a family to feed, and they're barely making their wages are not increasing in accordance to the economy. Then yeah, it's going to be a struggle. And at the end of the day, and just watching a video about Charlie Boy 313, shouts out to him. He goes around to like one of the most like dangerous neighborhoods. He was in the east side of Detroit, and that's where I'm from. I'm from Detroit in general, the west side. And he was just saying, he interviewed this one guy, and gentrification is pretty much going on in downtown Detroit. It's to the point that you know, not even downtown Detroit, in the Detroit neighborhoods, since like, you know, white people are moving into the city, and once that happens, the rent and the mortgage stuff, that's going to start increasing to the point that, you know, you can barely afford your rent at this moment. But now, if you don't have a stable job that's going to really correspond to the economy, where is it going, then you're going to be out of luck, you know, as far as financially. And then, you know, the people who's living in these urban communities are going to be forced out and living somewhere else, or maybe some type of project or some shelter. And the white people's going to come in with money and wealth and influence to build those communities up, and then next, you know, it's going to be like another suburban area, which once used to be a ghetto. We got to really hit those issues as well, but that might be a more local issue. But I just wish that, man, like these debates and these presidential debates, they just really attack like what really goes on in America, like just instead of the general things. But you know, that's just really my spill on it. I'm not going to really go too long and too deep into it. I just want to see, you know, who's our potential Democratic candidates, where's their mind state at, and how they're going to really just kind of just move the country to the right direction. What I think about Joe Biden is that the former Vice President Joe Biden, is that he's very humble in the way that, yes, you know, I think his wife, his son died or something in a car crash, and his, I don't know if his grandson used to be in the Iraq War, and he wants to withdraw, you know, troops. He's withdrew, I think, 150,000 troops during the Obama administration from the Iraq and Afghanistan war, because you feel like it's a long due and overrun war. It's just something that is a spiritual war that we should not be a part of. Kind of agree with that on him, on his part. But you know, these are the candidates I really think that's going to really make an impact. Probably Andrew Yang, Andrew Williamson, if she really market herself, because I really like how she really went to detail of, you know, the pollution and the food and the stuff that we eat that causes us to be sick. And Andrew Yang, Joe Biden, Marianne Williamson, and maybe Hickenlooper, but that's pretty much it. But I'm gonna have to watch the Republican debate, see how that's gonna go, man. I'm very 50-50 with this right now between the Democrats and Republicans. I really don't know who I'm gonna vote. I'm going to the absentee votes, but I just want to do my really quick spill on this, man. But you guys continue to like, comment, subscribe. If you guys really watch the Democratic debate, just tell me what you guys think about it, man. You know, did it stood out to you, or it just thinks the same thing? Is really country's gonna move into the right direction for the people? But yeah, that's all I really have to say, man. Just continue to support me, man. I love you guys. Enjoy your beautiful Saturday. I'm out. Deuces.